It's the old Fort Wayne fellow, Nick, right back here at the United States Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio. Extremely windy and warm, 70 plus degrees for mid-March. It's unheard of, but I think we're going to pay for it with some storms later. So I thought I'd get out here and do a revisit on the forgotten aircraft of the United States Air Force. I called it that the last time and people got honked off in the comments. So I thought I'd go ahead and revisit it. There was an actual item here that I didn't get to the last time. Let's see if I can get it in the shot. Right here. That's kind of interesting. It has to do with the Cold War and nuclear missiles. So come with me. We'll check things out. We'll fill in the gaps from the last video. If you haven't seen the last video, by all means, to check that one out and then come back and watch this one. All right, we're going to go walk. Try to enjoy the wind noise.
So as you can see, this is a C-17 coming in across Dayton, coming into the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I just happened to look up and see that as I was out taking my walk. Then I happened to notice that it was coming in for a landing. These winds were crazy, and I mean crazy, like 40 to 45 miles an hour, some up of a gust of 50. And this guy is trying to bring it in, and I just happened to notice he was crabbing pretty hard. So I thought I'd go ahead and try to record how this turned out, but it's about 2 miles up the road where their landing actually takes place. So I couldn't see how it turned out, but you can see he's pitching pretty hard. Just kind of a quick reminder that it is an active air base. And that was kind of the reminder. So I walked over to the C-17 and started looking around, and I was kind of reminded of the Afghanistan pullout and how all those people, when they were trying to get out of there, tried to ride the C-17 out on landing gear, hanging onto those knuckles. And once they take off, all of that becomes flush, and those people didn't make it. All those doors retract in, the landing gear folds up. I just can't imagine hanging on outside there with those engines screaming and just absolutely, I don't know, it would be terrifying. And so to think about those poor people falling off that airplane at, 2,000 feet, I don't even know how they held on that long, quite frankly. But there's video, you can go find it if you need to see it, of bodies falling off of these C-17s as they took off. It's pretty brutal. I don't know, it just seems like a bad way to die. So kind of looking around, noticing that this one's starting to rust, and it shows you just, how Mother Nature kind of reclaims these aircraft. That one could probably stand to be cleaned up, and I'm sure the crew at the museum keeps an eye on that kind of stuff. But just looking at it, you can kind of see where the leading edge of the wings, all the paint's starting to come off. I don't know if it's bird crap or if it's just normal wear and tear that doesn't get touched up. But what I did notice while I was out there standing around was there's some aircraft in the next hangar over. I don't know if that is the restoration hangar for future aircraft. If anybody knows what these are, feel free to get in the comments and tell the rest of us, because I feel like I've seen these aircraft before. And I think they were over here on this side, and I think they've been moved over there for storage. It's really hard to tell. But yeah, there's a lot of that base that you can't get to, or that you can see through the fence but can't really get beyond. Now there's some more issues with the leading edge of the aircraft. You can see where the paint's starting to come off, and just normal wear from just being out in the sun, having birds crawl all over it. I kind of touched on that on the first video, so I won't harp on it too long, but you can just see, the water, the moisture, the elements get all up in it. But some of this stuff's actually fared pretty well. I mean, we're looking at landing gear that looks fairly well maintained. I guess it's not really maintained, but it's not really corroding. I'm sure they've purged it, but this is the real neat thing. This is why I came back, and you can pause this to read it if you want to. I didn't do this one in the first video. From what I've read and what I understand, that is a railroad car that they used between 1986 and 1991 to actually hide and launch nuclear ICBM missiles, nuclear missiles. The Russians were keeping an eye on where we kept our missiles, and Reagan thought it would be a good idea to go ahead and hide them in railroad cars and move them into the rail system where they couldn't be tracked. And then if the time came where they needed, they would put down those rams and pop the top and stand one of those. Actually, it holds 2 missiles, and launch the missiles from a railroad track in, middle America or wherever. It's quite genius, actually. I know nothing about it. I didn't know anything about that until I went back and looked. One of the readers or commenters in the last video said I missed the best part of that whole thing, and he's right. To think that you could put nuclear missiles on a railroad car, that's genius. That's genius. But they got rid of it in 1991 because the Russians apparently, the Soviet Union fell, and we didn't really need it anymore. But just the idea that you could hide nuclear missiles in plain sight. And here's one of those cars there. So it's right there in Dayton, Ohio. Here's another F-15. This is parked right out front. I believe this one was an Air National Guard Air 15 from Virginia, based on the paint job. I just kind of walked around this one a little bit just to get the ins and outs of what it looked like up close. You don't really get to see these up close. Even inside the museum, they're roped off. You can't really get right up to see where the missiles and the fuel pods and all the things were mounted. And to just really take it in and then see the intricacies of how it's latched, how it's connected, just the different parts of the machine that you don't really notice or don't think about. The connection ports. It's just something that it's worth kind of walking around and looking. If you're kind of a gearhead like me, most people don't think you press the button and off goes the Sidewinder. I kind of like to see how it's held on, what makes it hang on, where it connects at. And this is just kind of a quick look. Walking around, seeing, there's a lot of bird crap on the wheels. So this is why I say it's the forgotten aircraft of the aircraft or the museum, because look around. Nobody's out there power washing these, or at least not very often. They're kind of forgotten. So for those in the comments that get all honked off about me calling it forgotten, I like these aircraft. You can get right up close to them. You can look at the identification numbers and plates on the side. You can't do that inside. Everything's roped off. I like getting in there and just looking how things attach, where they connect. And for those of you that have worked on these, this is just old hat. You know all about that. But for the rest of us, that's kind of a cool thing to check out. That's why I like walking around these outdoor displays. You can kind of get right up in there and see all the little pieces and parts and levers and things that move and things that are supposed to be in top-notch shape, and I'm sure they are on aircraft that are active duty. But it's just it's something to look at. So I kind of enjoy it. If you ever get to Dayton, or really any of your local museums, airplane on a stick, for lack of a better term, go check them out. If they're legit real aircraft, you can get right up on there and see how it works and what makes it tick. So I dig it. I don't know. You guys might think it's a kind of a nerd thing, but I like it. So if you're ever in Dayton, stop on by, look these aircraft over. Like I said, they're kind of forgotten. Some people go out and check them out. Some don't. Most don't, actually. I was there. This would be March 15th. It was about 72 degrees out. Everybody was inside. The lots were full, so the people were at the museum, but I don't know, maybe 5-10 people were outside looking at these aircraft, kind of off to the side. Nobody's really paying attention, but it's worth checking out. So if you're ever over this way, just go kind of look at the other displays. You got some like an old control tower. Again, you can stop and read some of these plaques if you want to get the information on it, but it's like an old World War II control tower and a barracks hut. We used to call them Quonset huts. Just kind of giving you an idea of what things were like back in the day, back during World War II. These are supposed to represent what it would look like in England. Royal Air Force kind of setup. But that's about it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one.